All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. In the ongoing West Asia war, the Hezbollah has launched a salvo of rockets at Israel's intelligence base near Tel Aviv in the early hours of Saturday. The Israeli military claims that sirens were activated following the arrival of suspicious aerial projectiles from Lebanon. A missile strike in the Sharon area resulted in injuries to about 19 people. Now, the Israeli military has said that about 3 projectiles had been fired from Lebanon into central Israel. Now, this comes as the country continues to pound the Gaza Strip. Now, the Gaza government's media office has reported that at least about 84 Palestinians, including over 50 children, were killed in 2 of the Israeli attacks on residential buildings in northern Gaza. So as the violence continues unabated, the United States of America has announced the deployment of additional military assets to West Asia, including ballistic missile defense destroyers and long-range B-52 bomber aircraft. This comes as a warning to Iran as it has traded tit-for-tat strikes with the State of Israel. Now, following the US's announcement, the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has said that Iran will give a crushing response to the United States and the State of Israel.
دشمنان چه رژیم صهیونیستی چه ایالات متحده آمریکا در مقابل اون چه که نسبت به ایران و ملت ایران و نسبت به جبهه مقاومت انجام میدن قطعاً پاسخ دندان شکنی رو دریافت خواهند کرد.
And on Friday, the State of Israel announced the killing of Izz-al-Din Qassam, one of the last remaining members of the group's Politburo in the Gaza Strip. The IDF later released a video which it said showed the airstrike in Khan Yunis that killed Qassam. In Lebanon, the health ministry has said that at least about 52 Lebanese people were killed in the Israeli attacks on Baalbek, Hermel region, which lies to the country's east. Now, the IDF had not issued evacuation orders before the attacks, is what the Lebanese ministry has said. Meanwhile, Israel's cabinet on Friday approved the 2025 national budget, which is a wartime financial package that the far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotrich said supports the country's ongoing wars and also encourages economic growth. The budget, totaling to about $162 billion, also includes a $2 billion package for the support of the reservist forces. The WION's Anas Malik, who is in Tehran, spoke with the Deputy Mayor of Tehran, Hamid Raza Ghulamzadeh, on the escalating Iran-Israel conflict. Listen to what was said.
Not about an issue of possibility, it is an issue of necessity to respond to the attack that was carried out. Just let's review what happened. In April, they attacked Iranian consulate section in Damascus and killed the Iranian official. Then we said that we need to respond because attack on the consulate section means attack on the soil. And then we had assassination of Ismail Haniyeh inside Tehran. Again, another thing that was responded. So further on, they just attacked, literally, officially, and overtly, they attacked the Iranian soil. And for sure, this needs to be answered by the Iranian side.
All right, now to give us more updates in terms of what, of course, is happening at this moment within Iran, we're being joined by Anas Malik, who's joining us live from Tehran. Anas, you've, of course, been talking to all the officials in Iran and what they've been talking about the possibility of an Iranian retaliatory attack on the State of Israel. Give us a sense of what the leaders within Iran are saying about the possibility of Iran retaliating to Israel's 26th of October attack.
Well, this is very certain now that Iran will be retaliating. This is the sense that we have picked up in our conversations in the past 2.5 days since we've been here. And it's not about a challenge, but it's a necessity, as what the Irani side or people in Iran believe. It can be said with absolute certainty with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's statement today, where he said that Iran will be responding at a time and place of its choosing, that it will be a proportionate response, that it will be under the ambit of international laws. Now, that was the only missing link that was there, because previously in the past 2 days we had seen these calculated leaks or intelligence reports that had suggested that Iran was planning to attack. But in the absence of a statement from the Supreme Leader, there was skepticism around these reports. But those doubts or skepticism have now been removed with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the Supreme Leader himself, stating that Iran will retaliate. That being said, when that is being debated about, because there seems to be some divide within here in the Iranian society or the decision makers. The political bureaucracy at least believes that after the 5th of November, pardon me on that, after the 5th of November would be an opportune time to retaliate. But the intelligence and military circles believe that before the 5th of November is what the opportune time is. Who gets to have the last word or final say in this matter, or who gets to prevail? Right. The answer to that will be known as and when we approach more to get closer to the 5th of November, that is the US election state.
You know, it's interesting about what is being spoken about officially within Iran, but I also want you to dwell upon, you know, what the Iranian officials are saying about the elections in the United States of America. Donald Trump, one of the contenders in this election, has said that if he were to be elected to the White House, he will end the wars in the Middle East. He'll stop the suffering in Lebanon. He's mentioned Lebanon very specifically. He's also said if he had been in charge, these wars in the Middle East would not have happened. What does the Iranian leadership have to say about what Donald Trump has been talking about?
Well, the Iranian leadership is more focused on renegotiating the JCPOA, that they have to go into those nuclear negotiations next year. 2025 is the year. So at this point of time, while there have been statements that might have been made by US presidential candidates, former presidents, current vice president, they're not very wary of it. They take it with a pinch of salt. They say that they believe rather that the US is a quote-unquote an existential enemy of Iran. That's what they believe. That's not what I am saying. And that is the reason whosoever comes in power in the United States, they say while it might not make a difference, much of a difference, but at policy level, there can be some considerations, and this can be taken as a concession for negotiations or for opening of talks. But again, a bit too early to say or speculate or delve into that. At least here in Tehran, they're very closely and critically monitoring the result of the 5th of November US elections. Saleh?
All right, interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Anas Malik, for joining us and getting us all those updates from Tehran. We'll of course come back to you as more details emerge in the story. And also to give us more perspective in terms of how things, of course, are playing out at this moment in West Asia, we're joined by Mr. Edward P. Joseph, who's a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins University and is joining us live on this broadcast. Mr. Joseph, let me start off by asking you this. At this moment, there's a lot of rhetoric that is doing the rounds in West Asia. We've heard about what the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has said, that because of the fact of, the Israelis carried out the attack on the 26th of October, the Americans have also moved more of their military assets to the region to support the state of Israel. Now the Iranians are saying that they have the right to retaliate. What's your reading on this situation?
Mohammed, first, good to be with you and your viewers. And my reading is that we have to understand what are Iranian intentions and what are Iranian anxieties. Because at this moment, Iran is in a very precarious position. As your report mentioned, on October 1st, Iran launched missiles, almost 200 ballistic missiles into Israel. None really inflicted serious damage, although one Palestinian was killed in the town of Jericho. Just recently, continuing some rockets from Lebanon hit in the town of Tira, an Arab majority town. So far, the only damage that these recent cases have inflicted have been, ironically, on Arabs, on Palestinians. For Iran, this is really quite precarious, because Israel's retaliatory response on the 26th of October, following that barrage by Iran on the 1st of October, exposed Iran's vulnerability and in addition, made Iran more vulnerable. I would almost use the word naked, because the Israeli jets flying some 1,000 miles from Israel were able to proceed with impunity in Iranian airspace and also from Iraq. And what they achieved there were military objectives. There were no civilian sites hit. They took out the advanced Russian missile defense systems. Those were the S-300. They took out the remaining ones of those. And they also hit in Parchin a key installation for producing rocket motors. So what that means is both Iran's defense is weakened and potentially its offense is weakened. So we have to consider that Iran is concerned about appearing weak, and that the supreme leader is also concerned about appearing weak. But if they go forward here, Mohammed, they're risking a lot. Please.
All right. Indeed. Now, the 26th of October attack, a lot of people would in fact say that Israel also demonstrated that if it wants to attack military facilities only, it can do so without harming civilians as well. But the question that I want to ask you is about the American politics at this moment that is dominating. Donald Trump, who is the Republican candidate, has put out a specific tweet saying that if he is elected, then he'll stop the war in West Asia. He specifically mentioned Lebanon, saying that he'll stop the destruction and the suffering there. And he's also gone on to say that if he were the president, this war would not have happened. What is your reading of what could happen if Donald Trump were to get elected in West Asia? Will these wars end?
Well, first of all, I have to say, anyone who takes Donald Trump at his word in this sense, in terms of a boast, when he makes certain threats against domestic enemies here in the United States, they are to be taken seriously, because he's very vindictive and doesn't care about rule of law. But where he makes boasts, I'm going to end the war, I don't know why anyone would take such a remark seriously. So we have to look at the record of Donald Trump here, and we also have to look at the record of Iran. It's actually quite complicated. First, Donald Trump is the one who walked out of the nuclear agreement that Barack Obama had done. He walked out of it, and he put on sanctions, and as a result, Iran accelerated its nuclear weapons program. That's number one. On the other side, don't forget here, there are allegations that Iran has some type of assassination plot against Donald Trump. And let's remember, he's been twice now here in the United States, had one very close assassination attempt, and one can only imagine what effect that knowledge has. So I just cannot take seriously a boast that he makes about some policy that he's going to somehow
Mr. Joseph, just to cut Donald Trump some slack, the fact that he was the president from 2016 till 2020, in the last 3 decades, perhaps he was the only American president who did not take the United States of America into another active war. That's perhaps to his credit. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Edward P. Joseph, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
More to say. Thank you. You're welcome.